Hey friends, welcome to my spooky library of cozy hobbies. One of my current favorite activities to do when I really just need like a brain off activity to soothe or comfort me has been adult coloring books. Maybe you're getting ready for bed and need something to watch that's not like super stimulating, or maybe you're cleaning, organizing, whatever, and you'd like some company. Or maybe you also want to do a little bit of coloring yourself and you need a little color buddy. Well, bust out your coloring books, get some markers, whatever kind of coloring tools you use, and let's just chat about what I plan on getting up to in 2025 while I test out some of these new markers I got for Christmas. So shout out to Santa. First, we need to choose which of these two cute and spooky coloring books we wanted to start with. I've had this Nightmare Before Christmas coloring book for the longest. It's really cool because a lot of the scenes are glow in the dark. Then you open it up and you can kind of see an example here of like the glow in the dark stuff that they have, which I've actually never tested or played around with, but it is a little annoying here. So most of the time I do color with this, it's going to be with colored pencils. And it's so funny because for the longest time I used Crayola brand markers and colored pencils because truly I am a total noob. Oh my God, doesn't this look like Ghostface? That totally looks like Ghostface. But I have been a newbie to the adult coloring world and markers. And so I didn't want to like buy anything for the longest time until I really committed to this hobby that I've kind of been flirting with for a few years now. I've been collecting coloring books, but have I been consistent in actually using them? No. So there never really was a moment where I was like, okay, you need to level up your hobby tools. And I think with starting any new hobby, even something like this, like coloring, you should not, in my opinion, go too crazy on spending things before you've really chosen this as something that'll be integrated into your life on like a more consistent basis. So this is kind of a really cute, and it like kind of opens up. It's like a full scene here from the movie. I love that. So for the longest time, I've just been kind of playing around with getting this hobby as a more consistent part of my relaxation routine, especially when it comes to like coming home from work and relaxing and getting my brain and my mind, comforted and cozy enough to then do activities that are a little bit more heavy and intensive for your brain, something like, learning to crochet, which I've been playing around with, and also other things like reading sometimes that can be really hard to do when your brain, your mind is kind of going everywhere and you really can't just settle in to reading a book, getting a few chapters done when your mind is like bouncing around from place to place, thinking about stuff that happened hours ago. All that kind of stuff are things that keep me from enjoying hobbies that require more of my brain power because I haven't really relaxed enough. And I think that's the purpose of coloring books for me, to kind of get myself in the present moment by relaxing my mind and body. So all of this to say that I don't think you need to have the fanciest markers or, all of these different coloring books to enjoy this hobby. Hobbies are really fun, and I think it's really easy for the buying of hobby tools to take center stage rather than the actual activity itself. So recently I just felt like it was time for me to get some new markers because I was actually finding myself using these more frequently. So I kind of proved to myself that this is not going to be something that comes and goes as a hobby. It's actually going to be something I will commit to, which then meant, I can spend a few more dollars on these kind of things. And luckily I didn't really have to, since it was gifted to me by my fiance, this really cool set of markers that come in so many different colors. The person who actually recommended me this brand of Sanjoki markers was the same person who gifted me for Christmas this year this spooky Christmas cute and easy coloring book. So I think I'm going to find a seasonally appropriate page in here. And I'm trying to find something that's not like super Christmassy, that's more just like winter. Oh, hey, I did draw this one very recently, actually, when I was listening to a Nightmare Before Christmas retelling. It's called Sally's Lament. Huge recommendation for any of my Nightmare Before Christmas fans. This was drawn using Crayola brand markers, as well as this one right here. I think they're fine. I don't really know the difference, so it's gonna be really cool using these Sanjoki markers to figure out what is a good marker, for me anyway. And just the bit I've learned about coloring and, markers in general is that you really don't need to spend all that much money on markers if you're not an actual legitimate artist by trade or hobby. Oh, this one looks cute, like with a little cobwebs and like a little bookshelf. Ooh, okay, this one's in the running, but I'll keep on turning to see if there's anything else that piques my fancy. Again, another one that I've done. I just really love how curved everything is. It just looks so like spooky cute, which is so my aesthetic. I love a little like wholesomeness, I guess, to my horror. Two little peas in a pod. I love this. And the little snow globe. Oh, so cute. Yeah, I just love like when you have Christmas motifs, they're just a little bit off here with like his arm and his like little button eyes. He looks a little creepy. Ooh, okay. I think I like this one maybe, but what was the other one I had? Let me see if I prefer this one or the other one. I want to say maybe this other one because it kind of has some hobby vibes going on. You have the little ghosty here in his festive little hat, reading a book with a cozy little fire. This one seems so perfect for a conversation about hobbies. When I said I was a total newbie to the adult coloring world, I really meant that. I don't even know where to start. Is there a right place to start? I don't even know. So we're just gonna dive right in with like the first thing that I see, which is gonna be the fire in the fireplace. So I'm gonna look to my markers and wow, there are way more marker options than I have had in a very long time. There's so many different kind of reds. There's scarlet red, there's rose red, there's coral red, there's cherry pink, carmine, deep red, like I don't even know. I don't even know. Okay, well maybe we'll just go with like basic orange, I guess. Okay, real markers, quote unquote, they're tough. Okay, so this side is the fine tip. This side is the broad tip. I know there's like actual pages where you could experiment with this, but I don't think I care that much. Ooh, okay, I love that. Ooh, okay. I don't know. There are alcohol markers. I don't know if there's like any bleeding through to the other side. Ooh, okay, yeah, these bleed through. These bleed through. So I should probably get something underneath. But luckily this page doesn't have anything behind it, but I do need to get something for underneath it. Hopefully some printer paper underneath will solve that. That's annoying, okay. My Crayolas never did that. Ugh. Okay, wow. These are intense. I guess maybe I need to get like more thicker paper, or maybe these aren't, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe this is less. Nope. A little bit less. Okay. Okay, let's chat hobbies. So at the start of 2024, I had this whole video where I talked about channel plans and all these like hobby things I hope to accomplish in the year that just passed. And I think I did a pretty good job at keeping up with those. I hosted my book club, and it's kind of like also like a movie club too. I did that for the book The Shining. And then I also did it for Frankenstein as well. So that was really fun. I also watched a lot of Universal Monster movies that I have never seen or hadn't seen in a very long time. And that was on my list too, but I think my crowning achievement in 2024 was actually getting to all of the Chucky movies in the franchise. And that's quite the accomplishment because I did that in the span of, I don't know, I want to say like a month, maybe two. For sure, my fave has to be Bride of Chucky. That iconic, spicy scene is the best thing I probably have ever seen. I call that cinema. And the worst, I think there's two of them, like Seed of Chucky and also Cult of Chucky. I don't get it. They went way over my head. But the important thing here is that I know Chucky, and I think it's really great to be able to really understand a character that I just see everywhere. Like, he is one of the greats of horror. And so getting to that franchise was quite an achievement, honestly. Like if I just did that alone in 2024, I would give myself huge props. Another thing that I didn't even have on my bingo card for 2024 was watching all of the Friday the 13th movies, and I'm very happy to say that I did that too, which was kind of unexpected. I think it's good to leave some room for your mood and just kind of doing things more spontaneously. So getting to all those movies, excluding the more recent one, I think it's like Jason X, and then there's like one he goes to space or something, or maybe that's the same thing. I don't know. I didn't get to that one because the reviews were so poor. But basically I watched everything else and chatted about it here on my channel during the summer. So appropriate. And I genuinely found myself pretty interested in the ways that the final girls evolved over the course of that franchise. So a lot of really great stuff happened in 2024 when it came to movies. And I read so much in 2024 that I did not expect to read, like getting into cozy mysteries. When I found out that supernatural cozy mysteries exist, I was like, this sounds like the coolest thing ever. And I did find a series that was like kind of like my gateway into the whole genre. And then next thing you know, because kind of adjacent to that is romance, I was reading romance. Like, who am I? I never thought my cold dead heart would thaw enough for me to even be relatively interested in romance. But here I am reading romance, getting into monster romance, no less. Huge credit goes out to Kitty for sure, for being somebody who has been, not eulogizing, for proselytizing, sharing, spreading the good word about monster romance for, all to hear. And eventually over time, we just break down, give it a shot, and find that, oh, hey, this is literally the best genre ever. So yes, unexpected for me to be even remotely interested in romance, let alone have some of my faves of the year be monster romance books. So you just never know. Life is always here to surprise you. And that's so fun to like have that kind of novelty as an adult, where, novelty is usually reserved for growing up, all of the firsts. So it's nice that there's ways for me as an adult to still surprise myself. And then next thing you know, I'm reading like cozy fantasy books with like dragons. Who would have thunk it? And I really enjoyed, first of all, reading, I think it's like Tea. You Can't Spell Treason Without Tea by Rebecca Thorne. I think maybe I butchered that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. That one actually was inspired by Travis Barker. No, Travis Barker, that is not the right person. But the person who wrote Legends and Lattes was the first person kind of write cozy fantasy, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. But then authors like Rebecca Thorne were really, really interested in kind of like creating books with the same spirit as Legends and Lattes. But I first read Rebecca Thorne's book and really loved it. Like I was so obsessed with it. I have like the sequel all ready to go on hold at the library for me. And actually found that I didn't care for Legends and Lattes as much as I enjoyed Can't Spell Treason Without Tea, which maybe is an unpopular opinion. I don't know. I'm just shocked that I actually read anything that contained any scenes with a dragon. And yeah, I'm very impressed that 2024 reading was a hobby where I had, or part of my hobby life that had so much growth and so much change. And as somebody who you may know has almost read like exclusively horror and like spooky stuff, in the past few years, I've had this channel and was open about my hobbies. Like this is a big thing. And I think it has a lot to do with just like needing something more light and less heavy that kind of comes with the territory of reading horror. I just don't know if horror is really what I want right now. Because I did read one recently. I read for Christmas Candy Cane Kills Again, which is a sequel to the original like Christmas slasher written by Brian McCauley. And I did enjoy it, but wow, was that intense. Either because the book is just very graphic, or maybe I'm just, my immunity has kind of gone away because I have taken such a break from the horror genre that like I'm back to square one with my sensitivities. So I'm kind of going into 2025 not really into horror as much as I'd say I'm more into like spooky stuff. And okay, just pausing here for a moment to reflect on the differences between Crayola markers and these Sanjoki alcohol markers. I see it, I'm understanding. And just so you know, I literally know nothing about markers. So if you think this is a silly observation, just humor me. I'm literally coming from square one here with this hobby, and I'm shocked that everything kind of fades into each other, that there's no like lines that you would have in a Crayola marker. Like you just don't see any of that. Like it all just becomes one block of color. That's really fun. Okay, I like that. Okay, yeah. So 2024 had a really great impact on my my reading and kind of exploring different genres, diversifying myself, and then I watched tons of like iconic horror movies, which I think is kind of a rite of passage for any horror lover like myself. So that was very gratifying to get to that. And then I think 2024, I will look back on as a year where I really pushed myself to get a little bit more hands-on with my hobbies and going beyond just consuming media, which is always really, really fun. But I've just been really craving creativity and just general creation, getting my hands dirty and challenging myself to learn new things. I think that's just totally what I crave, because I am feeling like, you know, the monotony of adulting, it can be very, I don't know, it just like makes me feel very just like existential when I think about it and when I talk about it. So I don't know if you kind of feel the same way too about being an adult, that, you know, you really need to be active in creating new and novel experiences for yourself. Like nobody's going to do that for you as an adult. And it's so easy to just kind of get into your routine, caring for other people, you know, keeping things afloat for yourself. So for me, I really just wanted to do new things and to not, even in some cases, like doing old things I did as a kid and let go of as I started to like grow up, get older, and get so serious. I think it was a great idea for me in 2024 to do things that are way more playful, very childlike. Like the nostalgia is cozy, but also just like doing stuff that breaks up the seriousness of being an adult in general and being a teacher for over 8 hours a day in specific, because that's a very like, if you know, you know, like it's not for the faint of heart. It's a very serious, heavy job. So doing things that are very different, like for example, coloring, that is very relaxing because I'm also doing something so very different in like vibe and theme, in like just the emotions. I think the word I'm looking for here is just different in tone, the tone in which you do activities. It's very different. So it's different is refreshing. So I think I'm gonna get this one here. Okay, time to get to the little present here. I did crochet for the first time. I purchased a Woobles kit, and did I finish it? No. Did I start it? Yes. Did it take me over 6 months? Yeah. I am very proud of myself, though. I am a person who tends to focus and fixate on the things that I'm not doing well and that I've failed on. But you know what? We will not. I'm very proud of myself for even starting the kit. I'm super proud of myself for taking breaks and then coming back to it when I needed it. I'm very proud of myself for accomplishing the very challenging task of learning how to do and decrease stitch and figuring out like what I need to do for myself. Like what are my routines for when I learn something new that isn't easy and straightforward from the very beginning. Because it's so humbling, my goodness, to not be instantly good at something. It's so very humbling. And I'm not very intuitively good at crochet. I mean, is anybody? I'm curious if that's like something people are just so quick to pick up. I don't know if the Woobles kit is actually meant for beginners. They say it's for beginners. I don't think so. I've heard from people who say that making those little plushies aren't the way to go. You should maybe start off with something a little bit more straightforward, maybe like little granny squares. So I don't know, I paid for it. They're not cheap. So I am also very, I guess, I don't know, prideful. I just want to be able to finish it despite the fact that it's super challenging for the sake of like proving to myself that I can do hard things. So I don't know if I'd like actually recommend a Woobles kit for somebody who's starting off, just based off of my personal experience of it being just really difficult. But I'm considering doing a whole thorough review on my experience of crocheting for the first time using that company's stuff. So, I mean, you'll be probably hearing about that in more in depth later on in the year once I finally get to the little fins. Oh, it is a struggle to finish Tank the Shark, but I will prevail, and I'll keep you updated on how that endeavor goes. But I did try needle felting and instantly was really good with that. It's nice to know that I'm not horrible at anything or everything that has to do with like fabric and crafts. I loved all of the decor I did. I really found lots of joy in making, holidays, whatever time of the year we were in, spooky, and finding something creepy and macabre to just kind of bring out the dark side of any kind of holiday, like Easter. That was really fun. And me and my fiance, we bought a PS5 because that's something that we both talked about for a long time, making sure that, we were very serious about adding this hobby into our life. And we've been playing it and doing games that aren't necessarily like local co-ops. We're just kind of passing the remote back and forth to each other. But my goodness, I have had such a blast with video games, whether playing them by myself or with my partner. They are so much fun. And I'm considering in 2025 possibly getting a Steam Deck because there are so many awesome games that are only available on PC, and it makes me so sad that PS5 doesn't get as many options as a PC. I mean, I understand why, but I don't know. Steam Decks, they are not cheap, so I think I'll have to wait on that since we are in the process of planning a wedding and paying for that. So speaking of 2025, I'm not putting a lot of emphasis on any kind of specific number target, goals, deadlines, timelines, anything like that. Really even going more chill than my chill goals I had last year. I never have any number goals when it comes to like books or movies that I want to watch. I don't do any of the like 25 and 25 for like books that I plan to prioritize. It just really never resonated with me. And I know people do that because it is really fun to like plan things out, and it just kind of creates this excitement of anticipation. They're just, I don't know, I plan a lot, but that's not the ways in which I plan. So I'm thinking this year of just having like some vibes, some ideas, some possibilities, and not really putting anything in stone. I am a recovering master's student. If you've gone to graduate school, you know that there's always somebody who is calling the shots, who's, saying, read this thing by this time frame. So you don't really have a lot of power, and just the speed upon which you need to like spit out basically content, right? Content for an audience. So I tried to make sure that I'm not creating content, or more so like I'm not like doing my hobbies to create content. It's more like the content I create here is in service of sharing what I'm doing. So I try to just be like super conscious of not like replicating my master's program in some way. I actually want this channel to be something that like leads to healing of a lot of like academic trauma that I've faced. And I think by, having things that excite me and creating like, anticipation, I think that's great. But having number goals really, I don't know, even like anything like super specific, I think it's more harmful for me, especially after just like, I don't know, just nothing really resonates in terms of the goals this year. I just know that I would love to keep on coloring. I'd love to read, and I want to continue to read, monster romance, witchy romances, keep up with this cozy genre that has definitely been very popular for a very long time, but I've kind of been on the outside of that. I don't think it's new. I think people maybe are probably like over the cozy book phase. I totally missed that. So it's having a moment for me in my life, but I know many people are, probably over it, right? Like Legends and Lattes, what year did that come out? Like then you have all these like, not like copied books, but things that are very much in that vein. And then you have like a lot of Japanese fiction that's been translated. That's very slice of life, very cozy, a lot of those things. Or even also like Korean translated works as well. They've been very popular for a very long time. And so I missed the boat, and, I'm late to the party. as always, but I do want to have my cozy fantasy, cozy slice of life translated fiction moment. And I think winter at the start of 2025 is a really good time for that. It just fits the whole like introspection vibe that comes with winter. Winter is a time of year where, you know, nature is kind of hibernating a little bit and waiting things out and embracing quote unquote death, right? Like that transition into newness, the new chapter, the new evolution, all that, just like a cycle. So I think cozy books always have that like reflection aspect to them as well. I mean, for the most part, not all of them, but the ones I kind of have on my pile of possibilities, they definitely do. Ugh. I'm using all my muscles to open up these markers. Little stockings. Well, you could see my stockings. I'm going with like a little green vibe. I don't think I have any movie goals necessarily in the last half of 2024. I didn't do a whole lot of movie watching. I don't know why. They just haven't really been things that have called to me, but I have gotten to some of the 2024 like theatrical releases that I didn't get to earlier in the year, but felt like more, I guess, interested in them as I was like on my little winter break. Ooh, blue and green. I don't know if that goes together, but I made that happen. Why not lean into the wackiness and let's just like make these pink too. Eee. Alcohol markers. I love how they just like blend in and there's no streaks. Very surprising how 2024 I ended things really active with my baking goal. I'm very surprised. Like I've been baking things from like almost scratch, and that's something that is not in my wheelhouse, but I've been adding that into like a lot of my hobby vlogs because I want a little bit of accountability. It's a lot cognitively to do things like that. Like baking for me is so brain on that, you know, it could be overwhelming if I'm not relaxed enough to really enjoy the thinking and the trying and the experimenting and all that stuff when like a hobby is new for me. I foresee myself doing a lot of baking. Like I really want to focus on desserts. I'm not into like cooking necessarily, but baking always just sounds much more enjoyable because of the outcome. I love sweets. I'm like a big sweets person. Specifically though, I do want to expand into getting more crafty with drinks. Mocktails I've been really intrigued by because of like its health benefits. So you can make like some really healthy drinks that are very like hydrating and nutritious. And I've been really good at exploring cocktails in 2024, but I think mocktails could be really fun to create energizing beverages during the work week that will just help me relax even more. And those are like more on the side of like, you know, mixing up things that would be like alcohol, but like removing the actual alcohol component, but then also doing things that revolve around tea, making some really fun tea beverages that like include like milk and syrups. And like I have some really fun like lavender, rose, chamomile, like those kind of mixtures, like a London fog with lavender. Like I have a few recipes queued up, saved, and tagged for the early months of 2024 to kind of start with that. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab a few like pinks here and play with these. I 100% want to do more needle felting in 2025. I find that is just like, I don't know, cathartic, right? You're literally just stabbing a needle a million times into wool, and somehow magically it becomes an actual like shape. And I find it so satisfying to figure out like how to do that. It's not easy, but it's not hard. It's just like the perfect Goldilocks hobby for me personally. And I have a craft idea where I want to replicate this A24 Midsummer. Like it's her May Queen dress, and it has like all these little flowers everywhere. And so that it seems very ambitious. I'm going to play around with some other stuff, maybe do the flowers individually. And I think that's something for spring that will be a fun little challenge that probably will take me more time than I actually think, because I'm the queen of assuming that things are going to be not as ambitious as they actually are. There's like a term for it. I don't even know what the term is. Oh yeah, the term is overestimating. That's what I mean to say. I am the queen at like overestimating how hard or time consuming a craft will be. I received an embroidery kit from my future mother-in-law, and it has like 3 different little, I don't know, wheels. Like, what are those little circle things called? I don't know. You're probably like screaming at the screen right now, telling me exactly what the term is. Oh, it's a hoop. That's what it is. Yeah. So there's like 3 different designs, 2 different hoops, and they're very like spring floral. The actual fabric itself has like the template, the outline. So it's very, very beginner friendly, at least in my mind. Like, I don't know. I tried to do, what's the other one? Not embroidery. It was like needlepoint. Needlepoint? Is that what it was? I don't know. There's like this Nightmare for a Christmas kit that came in this tiny little box from Barnes & Noble. I tried it like, I think last Christmas, and wow, that was like such a flop of a craft. I never picked it up. It was just too much for me. So I think this is different than that. But either way, I think it is set up in a way that will be a little bit more likely for me to finish it because it has training wheels, so to speak. I did also do a craft where I don't know why. I was in a theme. I had a vibe where I created this little polymer clay Mothman. He is so cute. I'm so proud of him. He is something I made from like excess clay I had from like earlier projects last year when I made this like little ghosty. And I was really inspired because there was the whole readathon where it's about cryptids. And I read a whole lot of monster romance that had to do with cryptids. It was kind of like my gateway into the world. And come to find out, there's a lot of books that have Mothman as a love interest. And they're actually pretty good. If you want recommendations, let me know. My whole point in bringing that up is I was so inspired by all the monster romance featuring Mr. Mothman himself that I decided, you know what, let me look up some images of polymer clay Mothmen and see if I can recreate it with the scraps I have, because I'm always trying to make sure that I am using what I have and not just buying more stuff and consuming more things and I have more stuff to store. It's a pain in like 80 different ways. So I was really proud of myself. I just looked at pictures for reference and created him, and he looks so cute. I do love him so much. And I put him in the oven, and he's like my little buddy. I love him, and I'm thinking of maybe putting him on something so he kind of is even more pronounced and I can see him more visually, but I haven't decided yet. I'm thinking of using the back of those candle lids because I always think like, what do I do with these? Maybe I can find like a gray for this one. I don't know what to do. Sometimes it's tough. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't color the ghosty. He's gonna have to stay white. Ooh, I guess, I don't know, I could use nude, but maybe I'll use this baby skin pink for the little snow globe. The biggest craft project I think that I'll be embarking on in 2025 is figuring out, okay, is crochet or knitting for me? Because from what I've heard, there really are just like 2 camps of people. You either crochet or you knit. And I'm sure I'm like totally oversimplifying that, and I'm sure people do both things, but I think 2025 there's gonna be that big question for me. Where am I at, right? Where do I fall? Am I a crocheter? Am I a knitter? I don't know if starting off with these Wooble kits really messed me up and gave me a really inaccurate representation of what it means to crochet. It's really tough and a huge learning curve. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's just the hobby itself, or it's the Woobles kit, I don't know. But I think I need to try out knitting first and do it like really low stakes in the beginning. Have an internet friend who recommended starting off with making little washcloths. And I found some really great video tutorials where I can watch people do that. They give me very specific material lists, and it's low cost, not a lot of, stuff you got to do ahead of time. And what if it doesn't like work out for me? It's fine. It's not like I blew like hundreds of dollars on materials just to find out that it's not the craft for me. Okay, we have so many options for greens. What kind of green do I want my Christmas tree to be? Do I want mint green? Do I want vivid green, pale green? My goodness, we are in an ocean of green, or should I say forest. We have emerald green, and there's even more. Oh my God. There we go, our little star. And I have so many video games I want to play, like tons of them. There's just so many cozy games, horror games that are calling my name. So expect a lot of discussion on that. And just, I don't know, I have a lot of ideas on how to connect multiple hobbies together. It's just so fun to feel so immersed. Like, video games are the perfect hobby for when you want to just kind of escape into a world that's just so visual, just the art form. I'm in awe constantly of what video game creators do. And my biggest gateway into video gaming in general as a kid, and then also like as an adult, was The Sims. And then finding out like The Sims is not a good game, but I don't know, once I started to actually play video games with actual puzzles and more direction, and just seeing like the creativity of stuff that's out there right now, it really does put the Sims game in perspective. And I know it's very specific about like what it's intended to do, but I don't know. I'm really happy that I branched out of just playing The Sims, because that's primarily what I was doing at the start of this year when we purchased our PlayStation. I don't want to like burn myself out on video games, but we do pay for PlayStation Plus, which is a subscription. And so I want to be able to get my money's worth. And I kind of do the same thing with like Kindle, which I pay for Kindle Unlimited. So like I definitely have a goal to continue with like at least reading one Kindle book a month that's like specifically on Kindle Unlimited. I keep saying Kindle when I mean Kindle Unlimited, but I really want to use Kindle Unlimited at least once a month. In my brain, that kind of makes it worth the price that I do pay a month for that subscription. So maybe even like doing 2 books would be ideal, and it won't be hard since there's so much monster romance that's available through Kindle Unlimited. And I want to do the same thing with other subscriptions that we pay for, like PlayStation Plus. So being able to at least finish one game a month would be really great. I just wrapped up I just wrapped up the game Night in the Woods, which was on PlayStation Plus. Also Roki, I did that the month prior and really loved Roki. So I just want to kind of keep up that tradition. There's a few games I know are on there that I'd really enjoy getting to, like Little Misfortune, which I know is cute, but also kind of dark and macabre. Definitely giving like spooky vibes. There's also The Bed We Made, The Casting of Frank Stone. Those are all video games I want to get to, and I highly doubt they're on PlayStation Plus. And oh my gosh, not to mention all the new releases that are coming out in 2025. I've been keeping a lookout at all of the announcements, and my goodness, there are some really great games that are coming out. Most unfortunately, most of them are starting off on PC or the Switch. I hope they make their way to the PlayStation at some point, because there's some really cute, cozy, witchy games. We are wrapping up this little coloring page very quickly here. Gotta color in some little gold ornaments. And let's see, we should obviously do a red little hat here. Let's see. Yeah, we gotta add some red here, and then I'll keep the trim white. Okay, we gotta kind of push the little page underneath. Oh no. Okay, I didn't think that through. Okay, well, she's a beginner, people. Okay, so we learned some valuable lessons today. We know that these alcohol markers do not play. I think definitely getting a coloring book that is a lot thicker with the pages they have will be a safer bet in ensuring that I don't have the same mistakes being made again. But you live and you learn. So that's basically my hobby vibe for 2025. Thinking about like some projects I might want to get to that maybe are a little bit more specific, because I'm kind of just like going off of vibes. I was interested in researching a lot about like quote unquote spooky women, and kind of thinking a little more critically about the ways in which their narrative is kind of created and shaped around hauntings. And a lot of people like Sarah Winchester, they get a lot of stuff wrong when it comes to her. So I'm intrigued to research her, and then looking at the case of like Lizzie Borden, not from like that salacious true crime kind of perspective, mostly from some very interesting work that's come out recently that kind of shines a new light on her and that case, that trial in general. Okay, we're gonna do a little marine blue couch. I think that'll be cute. And then I think this is the last thing. Okay, let me get this little blue marine thing out. These like are really tough to like open up, but maybe that's just a marker thing. I don't know. I'm learning. Okay, so let's get the little couch colored in here. But yeah, other than that, those are my 2024 hobby reflections and my plans for 2025. Just no numbers, no timelines. I'm not even creating a page in my journal like last year where I'm creating like a checklist for these goals. It's what fits and resonates with me now, but I feel like I've been so empowered this past year when it comes to like not doing stuff, basically. Like in the moment, that's really what matters, not what I wanted for myself at the end of the year, thinking I had this understanding of what I want, 2, 5, 12 months into the future. Like, that's just kind of ridiculous. So I don't know. I have things I'm anticipated for. There's tons of really great books that are coming out in 2025 within romance, but specifically in horror. Like, mark my words, there's going to be a fantastic year ahead for horror books and horror movies, just from what I've heard right now. And we haven't even seen all of the release information for these things. And there's just so much we don't even know yet that hasn't been even given out to the public. So mark my words, it's going to be a great year. I'm not pre-ordering anything, like any books, because I did that last year for highly anticipated reads and I was severely disappointed. So I think the universe does not want me to pre-order books because they're just guaranteed to not be fun for me. It's just so funny that worked out. It worked out for like 2 really, really beloved authors for me. And so I'm like, okay, you know what? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Like, I gotta stop what I'm doing. You know what? Maybe I'll add a little bit of gray to that skeleton ornament. That is adorable here. Ugh. Okay, cool. And 2025, did I say that right? Yeah, it's still new for me to adjust to. It's definitely going to be quite the year. There's a lot of wild stuff happening politically. You get it. And also some really like positive, like amazing things actually in my personal life. So, I'm getting married, and that's just something I really want to be present for. And I'll be taking, a lead role in the whole decoration design parts. You know me, I love to design things. I love me some decor. Maybe I'll just color all that in. Yeah, we love some cobwebs. Yes, we do. There we go. So, yeah, 2025 is going to be wild. And 2024 brought so much novelty and new discovery when it comes to myself. And that's like truly what you can expect from me on this channel, is just trying new things, reflecting on them, being honest. I think it's super important to be critical at the same time when you create like cozy content. I don't think the two are like mutually exclusive. I don't think you have to shut off your brain when you engage in hobbies in your free time. I mean, a little bit of that is great. Don't get me wrong. That's really important to kind of separate yourself from the rest of the world. Give yourself a break. You don't always have to be on. But the world is still turning. People are still in power, and they're making choices that impact us. And so I think always thinking about how hobbies are soothing and cozy, and that coziness is comforting and rejuvenating. But I don't think it removes us from the obligation of critiquing our hobbies and the media that we consume. And I find a lot of satisfaction and joy in doing that. So you can anticipate me staying so cozy in 2025, but also still critical, right? Honing those critical thinking skills and connecting with folks as well. I think that's, weirdly enough, I didn't plan this, but now that I'm like talking to you about this, I think my 2025 can be summed up in 3 C words: cozy, critical, and connection. And with that, I think we are all done with our masterpiece. We are looking adorable, Mr. Ghosty. I tried on these markers. I'm very happy with them, minus the whole like leaking thing, but I think that's a common problem that happens, and you just kind of have to adapt with putting paper underneath, or, you know, getting coloring books that are a little bit thicker. But thanks so much for hanging out with me, friends, chatting with me. I know this is a little bit different than what I normally do, but I've had an idea to do something like this for quite some time, and I think it's just all about having fun on this channel, taking some fun creative risks, and enjoying the journey. So I'm wishing you a fabulous start of the new calendar year, and, you know, every day is a great opportunity to start fresh and new, and I hope you have a great start to 2025. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!